Hey, what's happening? Welcome to the Pleasure Points podcast. I'm your host, James Rohr. I am a love and dating coach, an acupuncturist, and a dude just trying to spread the love and share with you the guests and the interviews to make your life more pleasurable. And today's guest definitely fits the bill. Certainly in my life, it's my fiancé, Jennifer Pansa. She is a yoga teacher and a doTerra advocate. She's a leader with doTerra. And so I asked her to come on here so that we could talk about essential oils. I've mentioned them in other podcasts, so I want to give you guys better information straight from the woman who lives and breathes essential oils and basically forced me to get them in the house, and I'm so grateful for it. So you can check her out at Jennifer Pansa on Instagram. She also has her essential oil account. It's at the Oilgram. And if you are interested in finding out more about me, you can certainly do so at my website, invitinginlove.com, or you can check me out on Instagram at James E. Rohr. So without any further ado, let's start the show with Jennifer Pansa. All right, and we're live.
Well, we know what it takes to get us to have a great time at starting in the podcast.
Hey, Jen, thanks for coming on.
Hi, Jim. Thank you so much for having me in our living room on this late evening for our podcast interview. I'm honored to be here.
Awesome. Should we keep it as super awkward and formal even though we're engaged?
I mean, the fact that you're sitting across from the room from me right now is already awkward, that we have mics in front of us. So I don't know how this whole thing is going to turn out, but we'll just see how it goes. And I'm just excited that you asked me to be a guest, and I can finally speak for myself since I'm being talked about all the time on this podcast. I would like to say my own opinions of what I think about the weather and what I think about essential oils, since I am the first sponsor, and we can really talk about things that I care about.
Yeah, great. You want to set the record straight on anything?
Well, yes, I want everyone that's listening to the podcast to know that I'm greatly affected by the temperature and that I love talking about the weather all the time, everywhere. And that I'm constantly cold and I'm constantly underdressed because being that I am most of the time in Miami, I tend to not really wear enough clothes, and I'm really cold wherever I go, and then I complain about it. And I think it's fun. So that's my 2 cents on the weather. I like talking to people about the weather because I think it's a fun way to connect. So you get to deal with that.
I still can't believe that of all the things that this podcast has covered so far, the conversation that I had with Andre about the weather is the one that gets talked about the most.
Well, it's the most controversial because it's such a common thing in everybody's day that, I think it's relevant.
My favorite is your line when you're just like, I mean, if I was affected by the temperature, I would say that I'm cold.
Yeah, because I have to preface it, especially if, in those moments, if I know that there's nothing I can do about it, I try not to complain, or I'll be more centered in myself, because if I have a long day of walking in New York and it's going to be freezing, I can't start out the day complaining about. But if it's just a short walk from, just now I had to go down to the bodega to get some chips for dinner. We made tacos and guac, and oh yeah, I was complaining. I just came from Miami yesterday. I put on 3 coats, 2 scarves, full boots. And Jim was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm going outside. It's freezing and I'm going to the bodega 100 feet away from our apartment." And that's how we roll.
Yeah. And when you can't change the weather outside, there's still always a choice.
There's still always a choice. I just choose essential oils.
I just felt the
to keep me warm.
collective slap from my sister and from everybody else.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Becky's probably rolling her eyes, just being like, why is Jen choosing to be with this guy?
Oh, whatever. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? If that's the worst thing I have to deal with is you complaining that people talk about the weather, we're doing great. I'm totally okay with that being a point of controversy in our relationship, because that's a testament and a celebration to how well we communicate. So, woohoo. Woohoo.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited that you're here. We, in some of the other episodes, I've made reference to the essential oils in a variety of contexts, from food to how it supports my clients in my dating coaching program. And I'm glad to have you on here so that we can all learn a little bit more about what's going on. Are you okay over there?
No, I'm like choking on my teeth.
You sure it's not temperature related?
No, it's not. I actually
need a moment?
No, I swallowed my tea the wrong way.
Is there an essential oil for that?
There is actually. Had I put lemon and ginger in my tea with some honey, I probably wouldn't be feeling this way. But we're good.
You sure?
Yeah, I think I'm okay. Thanks.
Take a moment. Do like some pranayama breathing or something.
Yes.
No?
Thank you. I'm okay.
Namaste? No?
I'm thinking about other words right now. And they are not namaste.
Fair enough. So let's enlighten our people with some essential oil knowledge and wisdom.
Okay, I can drop some EO knowledge. That's my jam. I love essential oils. They have really changed my life, so much so that it is my passion to talk on podcasts and things like this, even transform my business into really incorporating oils into them, because I have found so much dramatic changes in my own life with using the essential oils. So I think the first thing that I would like to share with anyone who's listening to this is how I got into them, because I think that really frames the context of understanding my knowledge on them. So a few years ago, I had been starting to use essential oils in my yoga business with aromatherapy, using lavender and shavasana, etc. That was kind of a no-brainer. But I didn't really know a lot more about them until I was laying on the couch. I remember you were taking care of me. And by taking care of me, I mean you were taking videos of me while my face was stuffed like a chipmunk and I was totally unconscious on drugs, and sending it to people when I had my wisdom teeth out. That was really fun. But at 2 a.m, when you were so comfortably sleeping in bed, fast
Dude,
asleep.
This is the last time you're coming on a podcast. I was getting you ice packs. I was your chauffeur.
That's true.
I was massaging your feet. I was
true.
like taking care of you.
You really were.
Throwing me under the bus right now.
Okay, I'll give you that credit too. You were really amazing. You were really sweet.
But I couldn't really. Nothing was helping with the pain.
No, nothing was helping.
I did feel bad about that.
Yeah. So there, Jim was sleeping like a little angel. 2 a.m.
Yeah, I'm an angel.
After he'd worked so hard that day taking care of me, which was true, actually, you did. And I was in excruciating pain. I felt like someone was stabbing me in the face. And I'd never had my teeth out. I've never had really surgery before, so I didn't know what to expect from that pain. And I thought it was a little weird. So I started, naturally self-diagnosing and Googling things on WebMD, because that's what I do. And then I figured out that I probably had a dry socket, which is where the nerve is exposed in your mouth. And anyone who's listening to this and making that ooh face, yes, that's exactly what was happening to me. So it was incredibly painful, and I was pretty much desperate to try anything to get the pain to stop, and nothing was working. So I started Googling things. I find an essential oil blog that talks about how I can apply some essential oils diluted in my mouth, and that it can really help with the pain. So I'm, 2 a.m, I'm like, oh my God, I think I have these oils. And I had started to build my collection. So I was rummaging through the bottoms of the drawers, trying to look for this oil, which is clove essential oil. And I find it, and I follow the directions on the blog. And within 20 minutes, my pain is totally gone. And this was incredibly shocking to me, because I'd never really used oils before in a medicinal way. I always just thought that they smelled good. And what was more shocking was that when I went to the dentist's office on Monday, the dentist actually told me that I was really smart, which I always like to hear from doctors. And then the second thing he told me was that what they use in the dentist's office is actually the FDA approved version of clove essential oil, which was also really shocking to me, because why would you use something that is synthetic when you can just use the real thing from nature? So that blew my mind, and it really opened my mindset to thinking about, if this happened to me in my experience, my one little experience of being in pain, what about the thousands of other issues and problems that people are having out there? And maybe they have something, if they had essential oils in their home and if they were educated on them, maybe they could solve some of these really challenging, painful, up late at night Googling the search for some remedies, and really be able to empower people to shift into a safer, cheaper, more natural alternative that can really help them. So that's when I started geeking out about the oils and forced you to buy them, and then really started to get into them.
I'm glad that you did, because I even said the other day, like, I'd be devastated if I couldn't have access to the essential oils, because they've become such a big part of my daily practice and routine. And when I think about, like when I wrote that book, Unlearning Stress, and stress management is such a huge part of feeling good and feeling vital. I don't like when people talk about like detox and like there's so many toxins, man. It's like, what the fuck? But there is a lot to be said. Yeah, there's a lot to be said, I think, about how chemicals that are made in a lab, so these synthetically derived chemicals, they create a stressor in the body, because the body doesn't necessarily recognize this one isolate out of context from the way that we've evolved to know it. So, one of the things I love about the Chinese herbal formulas is that they're using, the full root or the full leaf or the full twig or whatever it is, the full stem. And, we're not just trying to find like one quote unquote active compound that's making it work. They recognize that the inactive ingredients are also very beneficial. And so using the essential oils and the extraction there, it's like we get the benefit of grandma's garden without having to deal with, growing the garden. Certainly here in New York, that's not easily done. Mm-hmm. And then waiting for the right time of year to harvest and all that stuff. We have access to things that are preserved and super concentrated, so that we have access to them all year round. They travel really well. And it's a way to heal the body without adding additional stress. It's like there isn't the concern about side effects of an essential oil like there is with really any of the over-the-counter stuff. When you look at the mortality rates of taking the medications and over-the-counter things and, aspirin and the Tylenol with the liver, and it's just like, holy shit, how is it that we've veered so far from the natural way? We can't be surprised anymore that when we ingest something that was made synthetically in a lab, that the body might have a hard time processing it, that the body might view that as an added stressor.
For sure. And I think it's great that we're talking about this, because I feel like there's a big shift right now in our society of how we're viewing things and what people are open to. So doTerra, which is the oil brand that I love and trust the most, is really pioneering and changing the way that the essential oils world is run. And the essential oils are becoming such a hot topic. You see them everywhere. You see them in CVS, you see them in Target, you see them at Walmart, and they all say 100% pure, therapeutic grade. And oils are literally, you could throw a rock and hit like 50 essential oils just from our apartment here in New York. And I think it's important for people to know what the different qualities of essential oils are that are out there, and if they are really trying to replace some of these natural or these synthetic things that they're using in their day-to-day basis, that they have the knowledge and the information to do so properly. Because if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, oh, I saw essential oils next door to my house, let me just run to the bodega and grab like a tea tree oil or something. And I listened to Jim's podcast and now I'm going to use oils and my life is going to be healed and changed and all this stuff. That's not going to happen. And most of the oils that are out there on the market actually won't work. And people are not having these dramatic results like I had with over-the-counter, just regular old essential oils, because there's such a issue in the market with the quality. So that's why I really respect and trust doTerra, and why it's one of the fastest growing companies, is because they have all of their systems and processes of quality control on lockdown. So the fun fact is that essential oils are considered a beauty product in the market, which means that they only have to have 10% of the active ingredient that's labeled on the outside inside of the bottle in order to be labeled 100% pure. So that's shocking to me. Number one, that beauty products only have to have a certain amount of ingredients listed on it. That's horrifying. First of all, check your labels, ladies, for all of your cosmetics and, really look at what's inside your beauty products. And definitely know that your essential oils don't have to list what's inside of them on the label. So you might see a bottle of pure peppermint oil at the grocery store and it will say 100% pure therapeutic grade, but really that bottle only has 10% of that active ingredient inside of it because it's not regulated. So that's the great thing about doTerra is they actually test each of their essential oils and they know exactly what's inside of them. And we know what's inside of them, that we can actually look online and see what the chemical compounds are, where the oil came from, what part of the world, and really understand about the plant itself and what's inside of that bottle so that you're educated and you're informed. And then you're going to get the results that you want from the oil and not have to be worried that it's just some bottle of whatever carrier oil or a mix of synthetics just because some company wanted to make a buck.
Well, and it's like, that's a great point when they're like, I tried this essential oil and my skin broke out.
Right.
The reactions that usually happen, like we just don't hear that happening very much with doTerra at all because those reactions tend not to be from the actual essential oil. It's from the fillers and whatever chemicals they mixed in to pad their profits with that extra 90% of what's in the bottle.
For sure. So, for anyone who's listening to this, be really careful about what you're buying and what you're putting on your skin or in the air because you don't know necessarily what's inside of it. And essential oils are amazing and they're great and they're definitely on trend right now, but not all oils are created equally. And you definitely want to have a discerning eye when it comes to purchasing the oils and you want to be informed about your purchase, especially when it comes to your health and your family's health. I
remember when we were at the doTerra convention, listening to one of the scientists, the researchers, talking about the relief that she felt. She was getting her PhD looking at essential oils, and the relief that she found when doTerra, started to get more market share, when she started having more access to the doTerra essential oils, because doTerra essential oils were the only ones that tested consistently for quality and the active ingredients were, where they needed to be when they do their mass spectrum analysis and all of that stuff. And that all of the other brands that she was using, there was this wide variety that she would get back in the results, which made testing really difficult for her. And so once she started getting seeing the consistent batch, the consistent quality control, recognizing that doTerra was like upstanding the quality, then she could actually really do her research to see what the therapeutic effect is because she didn't have this other variable of, what's in here.
Right. And that's why I quickly signed on board with doTerra and their mission because they're not competing with other essential oils. That's not the intention of the company and the purpose of the company. The purpose of the company is to revolutionize healthcare by empowering households to learn preventative measures that are safer and cheaper and more effective to guide households into better informed choices for their families. And that's a mission that I can get behind. That's a mission that I'm on with yoga. I'm all about empowering people and allowing those people to have tools in their daily life, in their daily routine that make a massive difference. I mean, I can't imagine if you took my essential oils away from me, I can't imagine what my life would be like without them because I use them so often. And there's such a comfort to have knowing that I can literally go anywhere, have virtually anything happen to me, and I feel prepared. I feel like I know that I have tools that I can use to support myself emotionally and physically. And that is really, really powerful.
Yeah. And I've loved how, our whole day has been taken over with the essential oils. And we start our day with the vitamins, with the toothpaste, with the shampoo, and then we end it with the Serenity in the diffuser.
So what is your favorite essential oil? I was almost asking you right before the podcast and you made me want to save the question for the podcast. So what is the ultimate favorite oil that you couldn't live without or that you'd really miss?
For me, I would miss it's got to be frankincense. I mean, frankincense is just so good at like everything. But for you, it would be the Whisper blend.
You really like the Whisper, huh?
Yeah, the Whisper blend. It's like their aphrodisiac blend. It's like the sexy time blend.
It's the sexy one. Actually,
when I smell it, I know it's game on, which is fun.
That's true. I only put it on because you like it, and I know when I want you to get in the mood. It works. Ladies, take note, especially if you're out there and listening in the single world. Whisper.
Married people got to
charm.
get some action too. It's like you set the scene.
That's true. Yeah, it is important to set the scene. And even just now when we were doing the podcast, I had the diffuser on and then you made me turn it off because it was too loud. But
I didn't make you turn it off. I turned it off because
okay,
it was
you
too
turned
loud.
it off because it was too loud.
I'm not making you do anything. What is this language that's happening right here?
You don't make me do anything. I was just kidding. But yeah, we turned off the diffuser. And I'm so sad because I love the diffuser so much. But I'm going to turn it on as soon as we go to bed.
There's 6 other ones going in this place.
That's true. We do have a lot of diffusers. We actually have diffusers in every room. We started off first with my very first diffuser, and I started it in the bedroom, and I had no clue how to use it, and I never used it. And now I diffuse all the time. I diffuse right in the morning when I wake up with happy oils like peppermint and lemon that get you in a great mood. And then in the middle of the day, I might diffuse like an On Guard or something to help kill germs in the air. And then at nighttime, I love diffusing something calming and relaxing, maybe Serenity or Vetiver or lavender to just take down the mind, start to relax, chill out right before bedtime.
Nice. One of my favorite stories with the oils is actually with Audra and the mold in her apartment. So there was black mold behind the wall in her apartment. And when the guy came to test the air quality, they could see the mold. They saw it, when they looked behind the plaster or whatever. But when they tested the air quality, he found that the air quality was actually better in her apartment than the air quality is in an apartment where they can't find any mold. And the only thing that this guy could realize was that it was because of what she had going on in the diffusers. And I loved seeing the handwritten report from a guy who was like, I don't know like what this is, but it must be something that she's putting in the air that's killing the mold spores. And it's that kind of research that gets me really excited because I think people's experience of pain, it's a little bit like dealing with the weather. There's a lot of choice that's involved in how much they kind of feed into the pain sensation. And, there might be some placebo effect with some of that stuff. But when you get the science behind, we're not finding mold spores, there's clearly gum regeneration that's happening here, or looking at the comparison between On Guard, which is their antibacterial, antiviral, like cleansing blend, compared to Clorox and some of these other cleaners, and you see that in the Petri dish, it's outperforms these other ones. It's amazing, and they really have to have that if they're going to be effective in their mission to transform households. But one of our clients, she's in that process of making that change now because her kid got into something under the sink.
Yeah, and that when I heard that story, oh my gosh, my heart just dropped. So the story is that her beautiful little son, who is 3, I want to say, opened the cabinet and got into some chemical cleaners under the sink, and then they had to be rushed to the hospital for poison control. And that is just something that no mother and no child should ever have to experience. And as a enthusiast of natural products, and also looking at our future and having Wyatt around as a part of our family, and maybe having a family of our own at some point, the thought of that is so terrifying to me that I can't imagine.
The thought of having a family with me is terrifying.
No, that is not terrifying. That's why I'm going to marry you. But the thought of having toxic things in my household that could really, really hurt my kids is a real thing. And that is something that I'm really passionate about switching out. That was one of the first things I switched out in our household, was the cleaning products. And I got all, glass spray bottles and switched out for essential oils cleaners. It's actually much cheaper to do that too. So instead of, paying all this money to get these new cleaners, you just reuse the bottle. It's eco-friendly and it's really cheap, and the house smells amazing and it feels good, because remember that when you're using these oils, you're not just cleaning your house, you're actually almost like smudging. You're shifting the energy of your home too, and you're bringing in this essence of plant into your house. And most people's homes are actually, the statistic is they're even more dirty, or the air inside of our homes is actually more dirty and more toxic than the outside air, which is shocking. And that's often, I think, because of the cleaners and the things that we're using in our homes. So switching everything out, it feels amazing. You feel empowered because you don't have those toxic chemicals in underneath your sink, and it also just feels better. So I'm a huge fan of switching it out for a cleaner, more eco-friendly option. 1,000%. I think everyone should do that in their homes.
Yeah, before I looked into the research, I thought it was like that JP Sears video where you were just making the bacteria and germs in our house just smell good, you know?
That's true. The house does smell amazing, but it actually does kill the germs and bacteria.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of my favorite things is oregano oil. And I'd been using that before I'd gotten into doTerra. It was really the only essential oil that I used because I knew it had antibacterial, antiviral properties. And it's still, to this day, one of my favorite ones when I feel like I might be getting sick.
Sure.
You know, but now with the On Guard, I mean, that's what I diffuse in my office all day long because people come in all germy and stuff. And it's great to have that kind of the support and the confidence that, you know, the air that I'm in is going to be purified as opposed to someone coming in all germy and just being like, oh shit, chances are I'm going to catch whatever they've got.
Right. Well, and I love that you do it consistently too, because one thing as far as your branding and marketing expert over here, when you have a smell, it's actually people associate smells with emotion. So it's one of our most powerful memory recalls. So if you think of a time that you smelled a food or something that reminded you of your grandmother, it's like instantly you're transported back into that state when you were a little kid, you know, tugging at her dress. And smells can do the same thing. So diffusing it in your office, actually, when someone smells that smell outside of the office, they're going to be reminded of you and that healing space and that beautiful experience that they had with you. And that's a wonderful thing to reprogram and to repattern into people, because you can literally transform your state of mind, your state of body, and your energy just by smelling something. And that is really powerful. And the reason is that your brain is actually the part of your brain that's responsible for emotion is actually the same part of your brain that's responsible for smell. So when you smell something amazing, it actually can shift your emotional state and shift you into a different brain chemistry or activate the parasympathetic system, which allows you to relax, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, when we look at I like the research. So when we look at the research of what's going on with something like lavender and its effect to calm the nervous system, or something like the citrus blends, the wild orange, that have that uplifting quality. You know, it's part of why I love using it with my dating and my coaching and dating clients, is because, you know, shifting state and getting into the right frame of mind before you do anything is really important. So, you know, it's like, I think the online dating apps are a great tool and a resource, but it's so easy to become overwhelmed by them.
Sure.
But having them, you know, take a couple of sniffs of wild orange before they log in can help put them in a much better mindset, put them automatically into a state of being much more optimistic and getting rid of some of that, you know, the limiting beliefs of there's no men out here and there's no one good and all these people are shitty. You know, it's like, let's shift your attitude before you even log in so that the experience becomes more pleasurable, you know. And just like if someone has a great date and they're feeling this like, oh, all that excitement, but they haven't heard back yet, you know, it's like you have to be able to regulate your emotional system. You have to be able to regulate your nervous system so that you don't get totally strung out and burn out with dating and connecting, you know, because the last thing that I want is for people to give up on love, you know, just to give up on the whole thing.
For sure. I think that so much of our success in life, whether that's success in your relationships or success in your business world or just success of surviving the day sometimes is a patterning. It's a programming of how quickly can you move from that state of anger, fear, frustration into a positive state. And in order to move from one state to the other, we need tools. So that's why I love breathwork, yoga, oils, anything that's going to help shift your state into a place of a higher vibration, I'm all about. And for me, the oils are such an easy, quick tool because within 2 seconds, it can transform your whole mindset, your whole physical energy, and be one of the most powerful things that you can experience.
And with the doTerra's focus on families and communities, it reminds me of, again, why I got into doing the dating and the love coaching, is because it's not just about like one person. You know, it's like when that one person is vibrating at a different frequency or when they're feeling more energized, the impact on the community is so much, it's just so enhanced, you know. And if you could talk a little bit about that study that was done, where is it, like in Vanderbilt Hospital with the nursing station?
Sure. Yeah. So that was the Vanderbilt has been diffusing essential oils at the nursing station. And what they found was that the productivity of the workers, the nurses, was much higher, and they actually were delivering better care to the patients. And the patients found that their patient experience improved because of the oils. People were reporting they felt like they had better connection with the nurses, and that they were having a more positive experience as they were going through the hospital because of the oils that were being diffused, which is phenomenal. I think that if we can add that kind of impact into the workplace, into our home life, and into, even our cars when we're driving, I guess I live in Miami, and everyone drives like crazy from different countries and cutting people off. And that's the first place that I want an oil, is to diffuse, to manage my anger. Like, have my yoga sticker on the back of my car, like flipping people off, because it's a tough scene out there. And, it's pretty remarkable how oils are being used these days, and it's becoming more and more popular, and it's just going to become more and more popular, and doTerra is going to be leading that mission of people really, really understanding how to use these tools in a powerful way, which I love.
Who do we have to talk to see if doTerra can team up with Uber so that they can give Uber drivers like proper in-car diffusers so it doesn't smell like Axe body spray and horrible Glade plugins?
Amen. Seriously. If anyone we know quite a few people that work at Uber. Is it possible to give them like some sort of an incentive? They really do smell horrible. And those synthetics smells, guys, if you don't know, they can be really harmful to your body, because as you're breathing in these synthetic chemicals, they can potentially disrupt, ladies, your hormone system, interfere with your endocrine system, and they can actually wreak havoc on your body just from smelling them, from putting them on your body and having them absorb into your bloodstream. So you want to just get rid of anything that's synthetic. So that's like your Glade plugins, your Yankee candles, all of that kind of stuff. Those are all just synthetic smells. Even some perfumes, most perfumes are mimicking smells that came from nature at one point, and now they've just been derived synthetically and put into a bottle or a quote unquote fragrance for your benefit. So get things that are fragrance free. Look on the back, look at the labels. If it says fragrance, don't use it. Just switch it out for an essential oil.
Do you remember when we were shopping and we parked by a Yankee Candle and we could smell the Yankee Candle store from the parking lot?
Yeah.
We were like 2 aisles away from the entrance. And I just remember feeling, I was like, my heart broke for the people that work there.
Yeah,
like, could you imagine?
They probably get headaches a lot, and I bet you that they suffer greatly, and they don't even know it yet. And what's shocking to me is that our nose gets so trained to the synthetic smell. So when I was first starting with oils, I like the way a lot of that stuff smells. I thought it smelled good, and they have been designed so that we do like the way they smell. But now as I get further and further into this world of essential oils, just actually reminded me of the podcast that you had with Andre. As the subtleties of food become more clear, the more time you spend tasting. It's the same thing with oils. The more time you spend smelling, the more sensitive your nose can become to the different notes and the different qualities of the fragrance. And now it's amazing how much I can pick up scents. I feel like I have entered I have a new superpower, or like I'm like a dog radar with smells, because I really can smell things from far away and have a very highly tuned nose for what's synthetic and what's real. And it's a really cool thing to be able to have that awareness with smell, which is our most powerful sense.
Well, it also changes too when women are on or off birth control.
For sure, that's true.
Have you noticed a difference with since you got off birth control of like your ability to smell, or what you notice?
That's interesting. I'm sure that there has been a big impact on that. I think more I've noticed how I feel. But I mean, every day, yesterday I had to get off of my porch because I could smell the neighbor doing laundry. And it was just like, I couldn't take it. I was like,
land.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was something. But I think for the viewers listening, I think that you can look forward to living more authentically, because when you're connecting with nature and you're rooted in something that's real, it just changes how you feel throughout your day. And for me, knowing that I have the sense of what's fake and what's real as I'm navigating the day gives me great joy, because I know what I'm aligned with, and that helps me.
Awesome. So let's get into some real practical information just real quick. So for people that are into yoga and doing their yoga practice, what would you say which essential oils would you incorporate into your yoga flow to enhance it?
So there's a few of my favorite oils with yoga, which of course I have a really awesome yoga flow video if anyone wants to do this and has oils. You can definitely do a flow with me. I would love to practice with you and hear what you think.
How do they find that?
It's on my Instagram. If you go to Jennifer Pansa, my name, Pansa, then you can click the link and there's a free YouTube video, or you can just type in my name on YouTube and I'm sure it'll pop up with essential oils and yoga. So the first oil I would say is frankincense. This is the most important oil for many reasons, but especially for yogis because it is the most sacred and high vibration of essential oils. So this actually bridges the root chakra and the crown chakra, which is our spiritual existence and this sort of out of body energy, and then the rooted energy of what it means to be human in this physical body and experiencing life on a day-to-day basis. And it balances those energies. So that's the spiritual sense. So the practical way of using this would be putting 1 drop underneath the tongue. I do this every single day just for my health and well-being spiritually, and rubbing it also on the center of the forehead and the third eye, as this is a great way to awaken that intuitive energy. And then from a very scientific standpoint, this oil is very powerful antiviral. It's an antioxidant. It increases circulation, blood flow. It's a very, very great oil to promote healthy cellular function, and that something that you just want to take every single day for general health and well-being. So I use this one all the time in my practice. The other 2 oils I would say is Breathe. This is a custom blend from doTerra, and it's a combination of peppermint and eucalyptus. And it is such a great oil because when you put it on your hands and you just take a few deep breaths before you practice, and it opens up the air pathways, increases oxygen flow to the lungs, and just allows you to really enter your practice with those deep breathing techniques with clarity, and it just feels so good. So I would say that one. And then also lavender. This one is a staple in my yoga bag, and this is for relaxation. I'm sure that's the most popular oil. Most people have tried lavender at some point, but adding it into the diffuser or putting it in on an eye pillow in Shavasana can really help take you to that deeper level of relaxation. And I think that that's the one thing that we're really lacking as a society is the time to connect in that deep, relaxed space. So adding in lavender can really take your rejuvenation during your Shavasana to the next level.
Awesome. And if somebody wants to support their gynecological health, whether they're getting off of birth control or if they have a lot of like period cramps and stuff like that, do you have any suggestions for them?
Sure. So I would definitely say to reach out to me because each person is individual, and we want to make sure that there's a lot of different oils that can work, and essential oils are not dissimilar to medication, and then there may be 10 different essential oils that would possibly work for you. And we always like to start with the most popular ones and then move into more specific ones based on trial and error to see what your body responds best to. So each person is going to have a little bit different of a blend that works for them for whatever they're going through. So it's not really like a one size fits all when it comes to essential oils, but some essential oils that I would look into if I were a person that's going through that would be, of course, the frankincense, because that's for inflammation and will support the circulation. And then the deep blue, which is great for those feelings, those crampy feelings. So I'll just rub that all over my belly if I feel tension, if I feel tightness. That time of the month, it really helps to release some of those tight muscles. And then I would also really look at the hormone balance and what's happening in the body. And the body's going to produce hormones based on what you're eating, on what you're not eating. And, if you were taking synthetic hormones for so long, your body has to start producing those hormones in the right amount of balance of progesterone and estrogen, etc. So really taking vitamins is a great way to balance that, and doing a whole hormone balance protocol. I just finished, you saw me go through all of it in January, a 30-day cleanse where I really focused on eating amazing and really taking all the supplements that would balance my hormones. And it was a game changer for me. I feel like feel like a different person coming out of that. My skin is cleared up. I feel so much more confident. I feel lighter. I lost a few pounds, and it was really nice to feel supported through the oils in that process of, getting off of that crap, which
Awesome.
I think everyone should do, especially if you're in your 30s and you want to think about having a family, or, I was put on birth control when I was 15 years old, which is crazy. It's just like, oh, your skin's breaking out, you need birth control. It was never a discussion of what the impact would be on my life and my health long term. And honestly, it's been a freaking rough, 10 months. It's been awful since I got off of it. And I can't, the oils have been a huge part of me balancing and getting back on track. So yeah, I'm happy to help anyone who's going through that or knows someone going through that. Just message me and we'll figure it out for you.
Yeah, awesome, guys. So you can tell that Jen is a wealth of knowledge with all this stuff. So don't hesitate to reach out to her. And, the one other thing that I want to say about doTerra that I absolutely love about them is that they source their essential oils around the world, and they're committed to changing the lives of farmers and small farmers in particular. So they look at, where can they get the highest quality essential oil, but also where is their presence and their financial commitment of resources going to make the biggest impact. And I love that they're doing, microloan financing for farmers in Kenya, and what they're doing to support children that are rescued from sex trafficking in Haiti, where they get their vetiver from. This kind of stuff is really amazing. And it's gotten me to start thinking about the power of the dollar and where we spend our money. It's like we vote in an election booth only every so often, but we vote every day with where we buy our stuff from. And doTerra is I'm really appreciative of this whole experience with the essential oils to open my eyes to that part of life too.
Sure. Yeah. That is my favorite thing about doTerra as well. When we were just down in Mexico a couple weeks ago, we won the incentive trip to go down there and spend 5 days with the founders and the leaders of the company. And the first thing we did on the first day we got there to Paradise was put on our working boots and, as a community, go support a local charity, a Healing Hands Foundation partner, which it was Pasita de Luz, which is a special needs community where some children who are special could go and have treatments and therapies and be supported in this amazing center. And we did more work in that place in one day than they would have done in 10 years. And that's all because of doTerra Healing Hands and the partnership and the emphasis that doTerra puts on the people, not just the farmers and growers, which is amazing, and not just the people who are educating about the oils, but the people, just regular people that are out there that need support, and that doTerra can offer that by building things and helping support these communities. So it was really cool to be a part of that and be literally digging right next to one of the founders. And what did we plant? A mango tree? What was it? A yucca plant. Mm-hmm. That was really cool. And to know that that's where the company is, that's where their heart is to make change on that level. For me, that's like no brainer. That's aligned with my ethos.
Awesome. Tell everybody again where they can find you.
So probably the easiest way to reach out to me is on Instagram. Just shoot me a direct message at Jennifer Pansa, or if you want all the oil information, it's at the Oilgram. Of course, you can also find all of this information on my website at jenniferpansa.com.
Awesome. And if you are interested in getting a handle on your love life and looking to end the anxious attachment cycle and the push-pull dance that tends to happen, or to get a customized strategy of essential oils and lifestyle strategies to help you navigate the love world, you can check my stuff out at invitinginlove.com. That's invitinginlove.com. Check out the masterclass, book your call. We'll hop on the phone and help you get clear on the exact next steps that you need in order to attract that loving partner so that you can feel great inside and out and have a lifelong partner to match. So thank you guys so much for checking out. Jen, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
I think we did it. We sort of pulled it off. People are still listening.
Yay. Thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. We'll check you next time.
Bye.